said American Eagles. I just want to let you know that my first thought was the clothing.
Dang it.
Yeah.
I meant bald eagles.
Not bald eagles.
Darn it.
No, golden
Woo,
eagles. All
calling
kinds of
me out.
No, I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying, like, the association in my mind is American Eagle, Aeropostale, Abercrombie and Fitch. It's not like American
Gap.
Eagle, Waving Wheat, Ford F-150, as it ought to be.
Darn it.
So this represents like a kind of defect in my own
Rich
humanity.
men north of Richmond.
Exactly.
Perfect. There's just so much that we could do. We could talk about why Modelo is the number one beer in America. We could talk about all kinds of things about the good old US of A, the Stars and Stripes, Old Glory.
Yep.
But I think it's really important to consider exactly what is the particular flavor of the Catholic Church in the United States.
Yeah.
So you recently did a doctorate, pretended to do a doctorate. I think it's a real doctorate.
I think it's a real one, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen the degree yet. I haven't read the writing yet, the dissertation. That will be almost certainly be a fantastic book that
I
everyone should read.
appreciate
But you were abroad in Switzerland,
I was.
which is not the United States.
It's not the United States.
So tell us a little bit about what living in the Catholic scene in not America, which is to say the post-apocalyptic land of Europe, in terms of culture. I'm just talking about in terms of culture.
Yeah.
What that was like.
Yeah. No, it's like each of us have had experiences of living outside the country for a period of weeks and or months. This most recent one was the longest that I had been out of the country, and I was living in Switzerland, which kind of shares in the general feels of the French-speaking world, and then the general feels...
C'est très génial, ça.
Oui, c'est trop bien. And then the general feels of the German-speaking world. In der deutschsprachigen Welt.
Yeah, okay, getting a little nervous now. Afraid.
So, people are out there saying things, and we're out there consuming the things that they say, and maybe getting nervous or maybe getting pumped, regardless. It was a different setting. And I think that what first struck me is that I am not at home, and something is afoot, and I don't know exactly what that was. So one of the first things that I noticed was this kind of contrast of beauty and ugliness. Like you go into a beautiful church and you find that it's been retrofitted somewhat recently. Like liturgical vessels have been purchased. They're very heavy. They're made with like things that are expensive, but they've been put together in a way that's not pleasant and not functional. And that the sanctuary has been gutted, and then you've had something erected in the midst thereof, which is kind of unclear in its worshipful orientation. And I think the first thing that registered in me, and this is not in all places, but in some places, was like a kind of violence. There was like a sense that there was something here, and then there's subsequently been a rejection of it. And maybe not a rejection of it in se, but a rejection of things with which it was associated or things that it kind of brings to mind or, whatever else. But my impression was that there was a far more complex experience of the life of faith and of the life of worship than I had ever experienced in my own life. We might say liturgy wars, or we might say, persecution, or we might say any number of things in our experience of the American church and have historical and experiential data, But the impression that I got being in Europe was there's a story here, and the roots go deeper, and the timeline extends further than I've really ever encountered previously.
Right. We have not, as of yet, actually shed blood with Calvinists in the United States.
No. Father Jacob Bertrand, would you say that you're optimistic about this subscription appeal?
No.
Would you say that you're optimistic about anything?
No.
Well, I am. Folks, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate it. Cheers.